We got thumbs ups. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys, this is going to be the Gaming and Esports virtual meetup presented by Esports Business Network. I'm the host tonight, Trent Knox, and I'm just going to give an overview simply before I bring everyone up to stage that wants to speak, how this virtual meetup is going to be organized and how it will go. So around 7:10, about 10 minutes from now, I'm going to invite 5 attendees up to join the stage for a 15-minute networking session. And everyone's going to get the opportunity to introduce themselves. And then after 15 minutes, I'm going to present a question to those 5 panelists. That question, we're going to talk about it for another 15 minutes or so. After that 15 minutes, we're going to rotate out another group of individuals. So without further ado, can I get 5 attendees that would like to speak to raise their hand, and we can start bringing folks up on stage. I see Ken Gold's hand is up. I see DeAndre. So let me bring you guys up to the stage. 1 minute. Okay, Ken. DeAndre. Luis. And then Howard. Awesome. All right, guys. So you guys are the first 5 to show up. I do want to say before we get this thing fully started is if you would please go to the event post and put a small excerpt about yourself and what you do in the gaming and esports industry and let others know what you do. Also, for networking purposes, go ahead and click on the different avatars in the audience, send out connection requests, follow those individuals, and get connected. That's the whole purpose of this meetup, and I look forward to seeing how this goes. And if it goes well, we'll do more of these each month. So, Ken, can I get a mic check from you? I haven't heard anyone yet, so I just wanted to see if this is going well.
This is Howard. I can do a mic check.
Oh, Howard, perfect. I can hear you. Awesome. Howard, since you went first, do you want to introduce yourself and let everybody know what you're doing in gaming?
Yeah, for sure. Well, hello everyone. My name is Howard Robinson. I'm the founder of Gaming for Greatness. We are a VR leader and versatile solutions. Right now, I'm primarily focused on using esports to help a few different ways. So I say that because I have a few different programs. One, I'm using virtual reality esports to make esports more accessible. So making it more accessible to students who may have disabilities or learning challenges. Creating an environment so students can compete in game and build community on a level playing field. And I'm also working with different community organizations that I can go into a bit later on using esports as a tool to build community for the better good of society. So that's what essentially my goal.
Very cool. It's going to be awesome to explore VR more through this meetup and see if there's anybody else that would like to connect with you. If you're in the audience, definitely click on Howard's avatar and give him a follow and connect. And Luis, do you want to go next?
Sure, no problem. So my name is Louis. I'm Chief Operation Officer here at Leaders Are Born. I have a co-founder as well. Like Howard, I'm also in the educational industry. So a lot of our program has to do with more career paths. So we use esports as a template to get kids into more careers. Esports is a big industry, so it has many branches people can branch out to. A couple of them is PC building. We teach kids how to build their PC so they can game, and on that end, get their own CompTIA certification. We do media production, and we also do AR, VR, and metaverse type of classes with schools. We're in right now 30 different schools in New York City and looking to expand more.
Very cool. And that's another topic that we're definitely going to be expanding on, which is Web3 and the future of crypto gaming and all of that. So if you're interested in any of that information, definitely give Lewis a follow and connect with him. I'm gonna bring DeAndre back up. DeAndre, can we hear you? Let's see.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, DeAndre, I can hear you. Welcome to the stage.
My bad. I tried to enable my microphone and it knocked me out of here.
No worries. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you're in gaming esports?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is DeAndre Jones. I prefer D Jones. I'm the person that's bringing gaming and esports to Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I stay here in the state of Michigan. I am the leader and entrepreneur that is bringing all aspects of gaming to our city. Whether it's competitions, I'm working with our local school district here, the entire school district to integrate esports here. Then I'm working with our library district, which has 12 to 15 libraries that has the capacity across Kent County to be esports lab, and they want to do a league and educate people how to develop video games and different aspects of esports. So I am the innovator and person that's bringing it to my community.
Very cool. And I didn't mention this, but from this stage so far, we've got a lot of input from the educational side, and look forward to exploring that more. So yeah, everyone in the audience, go ahead and also follow DeAndre or D Jones as he goes by. I also wanted to acknowledge the folks that have gone to the event page and in the comments left a little excerpt about themselves and what they do in the gaming and esports industry. That really helps others learn more about you other than just clicking on their avatar. So yeah, go ahead and if you haven't yet, go into the comments of the event and post your name and a little information or background about you, and it goes a long way. So with next but not least, Ken, if you're there and you're able to, it'd be great if you went next. Not sure if Ken is available to speak, so I'm gonna swap out Ken for Matthew. Bring you up to the stage, Matthew. Matthew, if you don't mind.
I am just listening. This is my first time here. Thank you. Sorry.
Gotcha. No worries.
Well,
no worries. I'm gonna move you back to the audience, but thank you for joining.
yes, this is amazing. Awesome. This technology is amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Dalton, welcome. Welcome. If you don't mind unmuting and introducing yourself.
Hey, Trent, I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Dalton Jones. I'm our director of esports operations at Power Up EDU. We're actually a educationally technology integrator, and we are kind of taking a holistic style approach to implementing esports here in the Southeast, trying to help schools set up a foundation to ensure that our students are having success in esports and give them an opportunity to expand in career opportunities, collegiate opportunities, and really just delivering across multiple different fields there, whether it be providing them hardware or everything from league management, software, et cetera, all the way up to curriculum, coursework as well. We also have a really extensive virtual reality practice with our business as well, that we are also implementing in many different STEM practices at the school level right now. So it's a little bit of background by myself. I'm actually located here in Alabama. So
Awesome. We have a really good group of folks on the first panel. I think we're gonna start a little early on the question, and I'll open it up to the five of you, whoever wants to speak first, and kind of talk about it. And maybe we can kind of curate this question to the education space and whatnot, because it seems like everyone has a little bit of experience working with gaming and esports in the education space. But the first question I have is, how has the esports industry grown and evolved in recent years? So whoever wants to tackle this question first, go ahead and unmute. DeAndre.
I would say it's been crazy to see that they actually have esports music labels nowadays. So, everybody wants to get their song on video games, and now they're actually starting to create esports music labels, which I didn't expect. A lot of things with the VR. I know we're talking about esports, but just with the VR sets, I was just at one of the public schools here for my community and seeing that they actually can create exhibits and they actually can put those VR sets on the TV screen, which I didn't know. I'm pretty innovative and business savvy, but those are new innovative things that I've been seeing. And then this competitions are starting to get better. Equipment is starting to get better. Some people have like portable esports fold up gaming arcades, so it kind of takes away from the desk and the esports equipment. So it's a lot of different things. However people would like to structure their esports facility, I would definitely say structure however you want to, or however your community would like to see it. But it's just a lot of new technology that's out there.
Absolutely. And I think, Howard, if you might want to speak to that, or I saw Dalton unmute.
Dalton can go.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, in the education space, it's been amazing to see how quickly it has grown, specifically here in the Southeast. I know esports in education really kind of burst on the scene around 2018, heavily, maybe a little bit before that in some locations, but started to gain a lot of traction in 2018. And to see the space grow around it, and see the value add that esports brings to the education space is really just phenomenal. We see so many opportunities that are created for our students to achieve success, and in video games and in the industry as a whole, not just as esports, is just amazing to me. I was that kid that when I was growing up, I wanted to work in video games. I wanted to be that video game tester, or be the guy that worked on and designed video games. And now to see that as a real opportunity with a lot of available jobs coming every day, it's just really awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, I can. Go ahead, Luis.
Okay, sorry. So my experience has been, like, I'll say kind of full circle. So back in 2014, I got a full ride to play esports at a video game out in Chicago. So I always stayed 4 years in Chicago, moved into being a director, to now going back into education, but on building programs and bringing people that same experience. So I feel like it expanded a lot bigger. Before it was really just in like the Midwest area. Now you're seeing the southern states do it. You've seen the East Coast building it up, and you've seen West Coast already doing their own thing with all the companies already being out there. So you're seeing it really expand in the educational side, where more schools are adopting this new idea of like bringing games and being part of more of like an athletics sense. So I think it's been massive now.
Absolutely.
I'll just say just a different angle. A lot of great comments. I think esports in itself has grown holistically. So I'm seeing a lot of opportunity. Again, going back to my statement on my purpose, so I'm working on seeing it as a community building tool. As I'm in a lot of schools, a lot of the social emotional learning skills that children have gotten from being in teams, clubs, and participating actively have disappeared because of COVID, because of lack of interest. And esports and gaming is one of the most common ways where children commune. So what I'm doing is creating curriculum that teaches students how to be good gamers, but also how to be good people as well too. So it's kind of like esports is an avenue that unintentionally is providing education to our students that need it the most, if we know how to utilize it the right way. So I think that's another thing too. The transformation of the game in genres has made it a lot easier. With things like Fortnite compared to Call of Duty, as far as education, we don't have to worry about as much violence. So the entryways into gamification and gaming have become a lot easier. And I think once we start to put a more holistic spin on it, since it's so big, we can use esports for more than just gaming and actually help the students' brains that they say we're destroying. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see some folks that are raising their hand to speak, and I know some of you are just joining in and getting to listen to this virtual meetup and these first panelists. I am learning through the process of using this new social audio feature on LinkedIn, and I just want to kind of give a breakdown again of the agenda. So we're going to bring up new panelists in about 15 minutes from now. So expect around 7:30-ish Central Standard Time, so that's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 5:30 p.m. PST for you guys. And there's a few different questions I'm going to ask each panel, and then we'll rotate out and bring up a set of 5 new speakers after about 30 minutes in total of each panel. And then we'll have a break about the hour mark for folks to kind of like talk and connect and network. One of the important things that you should be doing is looking at all the avatars in the attendance and the attendees, clicking on them, learning a little bit more about them, following them and connecting with them. You can always find someone that can help you with your business, maybe a potential new employee, someone to help you with funding. There are a lot of opportunities out there on this platform. One other thing is if you click the event and you comment below a little information about yourself and about what you do, it'll go a long way and help people connect with you. So, all right, second question for the panelists is, what are some of the biggest challenges facing esports businesses today?
I would honestly say lack of equitable intent and strategy. I feel like with a lot of the big leagues, they're always looking to find like the best of the best players, and that's cool, but I think they need to start at the grassroots level and serve the underserved communities and communities in poverty, because we all know, the large population of the esports gaming and publishing and companies are predominantly Caucasian ran companies. And so I would just like to see people of color, this diversity and equity within the gaming space. And I feel like there's a lack of that. And there truly needs to be equitable strategies for people of all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all income brackets, to be able to work in a gaming space, compete on teams, whether it's pro, amateur. We just need to create better equitable opportunities, I would say. And I believe that's a challenge for people, because some people don't want to do that. Some people just wants to focus on capitalizing, building an esports company. And I believe that you should serve the people, give people the type of service that you'd want and the love that you'd want. I feel like that's what a lot of these gaming companies lack. And we start to do that, I believe we'll have better equitable outcomes within the gaming space.
And yeah, just to follow up on that, I think another piece of that puzzle is being culturally responsible and culturally sensitive. I think a lot of game companies are sometimes out of touch when it comes to trying to either celebrate or let's use celebrate different cultures. I always think about again, Fortnite, and when the Martin Luther King thing happened, they tried to post a tribute, and they still allowed emotes in the gallery, and they were doing some things that weren't too great that insinuated racism. And I think having, again, going to the diversity and inclusion, having different perspectives on your boards and those team meetings and those important conversations will help avoid a lot of issues, but also simultaneously increase the outreach. So there are entire communities of gamers, of pro gamers that are being untapped that never even heard of a gaming competition. I go into plenty of schools in the south side of Chicago where I'm working, and most of them don't even know how to enter a tournament. So a lot of those things, pathways aren't as accessible. So I think making those, being more, again, responsible culturally, and then being more inclusive intentionally in these communities will help the entire ecosystem. So.
I'll piggyback off of that is I'll say, and in being a business owner in a couple of different companies, like Trent, we talked about this a couple of times. One of the biggest things was the lack of I think the system is really up to bottom approach where it very hurts it. People think that if you build it, people will come, but you kind of have to build that community. You have to build that foundation for people to have that warm entry. So if you're definitely looking to build a company in the esports and gaming, you gotta already kind of have a community to start that growth path. If you're thinking you're gonna build something and they're gonna come, you're gonna face a little real reality, and it's not as easy as I think.
I just want to appreciate input. I would say in the education space specifically, the learning thing we have, I would say, is defeating the negative stigma around gaming. We all know as gaming professionals, there's negative stigma around video gaming in general, and breaking that negative stigma is a very difficult thing to do. But we're having a lot of success at it. The big thing is the value add that esports brings to the education space and how much of an impact it can make on students' lives, and whether it be career or collegiately.
My apologies. I think my audio crashed for a minute there, and so I wasn't able to hear everyone, and I'm back. But I heard Dalton just muted, so maybe we can kind of come back and someone can let me kind of in on what just happened or kind of surmise what was said. Maybe Howard or Lewis. Hello?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
My audio crashed. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, can you kind of summarize the talking points of Howard and yourself and Dalton? Because I wasn't able to hear.
Yeah, no problem. So we talked about our different paths. I believe we talked about the inclusion, in fact that we would like to see more inclusion in the esports industry, and that needs to be a growing path. We talked about the down up and bottom approach, where companies looking to build a community that they need to first have a community in order to start building it. You can't just have it done. And then on the educational side, it's more expansive and needs to be more collaborative with other groups that are already forming and less exclusivity. So I believe that's all the talking points that we went over.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Kind of gives me a better idea and what direction to go with the next question. So, the next question for these panelists is going to be, how do we measure that success, and what will be some of the telltale signs that we have been moving forward in progress in achieving those challenges and overcoming them, and what that success looks like? How do we measure that?
I think the easiest thing is representation. So the more representation we see in the ecosystem / community, then it'll be apparent that things are working. So that means, for example, more Black esports teams, not even just Black cultural. So teams from different countries, different continents, on bigger stages, inclusive. So not just small little leagues. There are pathways for them to be equally represented, to have as much media attention as some of the bigger organizations as well too. So once we start to see more, I think the results will become apparent. I think a lot of the other things on the back end can get a little bit skewed sometimes. So I think public facing is always the best. So the more representation, the better, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I would go ahead, Dalton.
I was just going to kind of go right along the lines that Howard went there, is that, we can measure the success that we're seeing in the education space by how much success we're bringing to the students. That's been my number one goal since day one when we first launched our esports practice, was to ensure that we're setting our students up for success. I can give them the high-end gaming PCs and give them nice furniture, etc., for them to be able to play on. But if I'm not setting them up to have career success and life success, then I'm failing. And so if I see that my kids are showing an increase in their GPAs and they're going to school more, they want to be at school more, they're getting college scholarships and unlocking new career pathways for themselves, then I see that as success in the space. And I think that's going to be how our success is going to be measured in the education space.
So yeah, I'll agree with that, with what Jones said. In the educational side, at least on our business model, is to where do the kids end up in 4 years, right? Where do these high school kids end up? Where do these middle school kids, and where do these college kids? And what companies are they working at? Where like building that foundation for them to have the network to connect, right? Building that like flourishing area where they are gonna focus in, right? Everybody that wants to be in esports, everyone thinks they're gonna be a player, right, in the beginning. But surely people realize that, well, where did they want to end up isn't really as a player. They might want to be marketing, or they want to do production, or they want to do like the back end work. That's all those areas that need to be explored more for in the educational side. And then on the business side is really, if you're building into the esports area, you really need to build that foundation of where you're trying to focus on and how to connect multiple dots together. So that's kind of where those two areas need to be in.
Hello?
Yeah, D. Go ahead and after you've kind of given in your value, I would like it if you can insight. After you've given your insight, can you please kind of let everybody know where they can get connected with you and everything like that, and then we'll work on rotating in the next 5 panelists.
Yeah, was gonna say everything that everybody else said. I as I'm really working on esports, like I'm working on esports with our school district. So just creating that opportunity, making sure it's fair, making sure it's equitable, making sure it's just, making sure that students are getting those opportunities and building those pipelines. I just spoke to the NBA on Friday and let them know about the work that I was doing. And there aren't really traditional NBA 2K leagues. There are NBA 2K leagues, and so I'm looking to develop an NBA 2K league that's a collegiate and league that eventually gets kids scholarships and eventually hopefully get kids drafted to the NBA esports teams. And when I spoke to the NBA, they told me nobody is actually doing what I'm doing. So just exploring those unique opportunities and being able to get those kids careers like everyone else said. That's what my goal is getting kids careers. I stay in the second worst city for economic development for African-American people. So anything that I do, anything that I can do to help anybody would literally be helping our economy grow. And so I'm just really just focused on creating all of the opportunities that I can for everyone from every walk of life, and patrons too, because I'm working with Kent District Libraries. Also, if you guys wanted to find me, you guys can add me on LinkedIn, DeAndre Jones. I did put my LinkedIn link. I'm also working on esports competitions too. So I know Howard was speaking about being on the south side of Chicago. I'm actually doing an esports competition April 22nd for NBA 2K, and bringing police officers and sheriffs and politicians and people from all different walks of life, and trying to really build a community beyond gaming, because gaming can do amazing things and bring people together and create true economic growth and change. So guys can check out the link I put in there. I'll put in there again, but add me, DeAndre Jones, on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you, DeAndre. Who would like to go next and give their insight and provide their information how to connect with them?
Yeah, I'll just go to wrap it up. Again, essentially the same talking points about esports, wanting to see it evolve. I can be contacted on my LinkedIn as well too. I'm always working on a bunch of different projects. So I'm working with to provide telehealth using virtual reality. I'm working on business development to make workplace training a lot more effective and fun. And some of my more passion projects is I'm trying to get involved with the judicial system to try to provide virtual reality training and instruction to recently or soon to be released incarcerated inmates. So while also working on a fatherhood program to use esports as a bridge to create community. So if any of those projects sound interesting to you, or you might know someone in that industry, DeAndre, I'll surely be connecting with you as well as soon as I can. Because again, I'm still a learner. So again, I'm not the most business savvy person. So I'm always looking to grow and network. Yeah, just appreciate the space as well too. I look forward to connecting.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you very much.
I guess I can go next. I just want to leave you guys with the fact that, I know that a lot of us here are passionate about gaming. I hope you are. And my goal in everything that I do is that I want to leave a lasting impression. And I feel like that in education specifically, esports as a whole is a great thing, but in education specifically, I think we have a real opportunity to do some really, really great things. And I want to make sure that I do every day to make sure that I'm doing great things for our students and for our kids. And I hope you guys will take that same approach. But if you guys want to reach me, I am on LinkedIn. You can reach me on LinkedIn at Dalton Jones. Also, if you want to contact me, my email address is dalton@powerupedu.com. So feel free to reach me there as well, and look forward to connecting with some of you.
Awesome, Dalton. Thank you for joining us. And Lewis, last but not least.
Yeah. Things about me. Like I said, very much into the educational, like everyone else was. Kind of odd that we were all in the education, but it was great at the same time. Things to note, a couple of things that we're having coming up is we're having a metaverse event tomorrow, I think. Yeah, tomorrow at 6 to 7 Eastern time. If people want to check it out, go ahead. We have a couple of great talkers talking about the metaverse and in the educational industry. And specifically for the esports side, building up a huge project here for New York and in the East Coast area. So definitely if you're in the East Coast area and want to connect, love to connect with you guys. Bunch of things happening out here on the East Coast. So please follow me on LinkedIn. Any message, I'll respond back. Thank you.
Awesome, Lewis. Thank you for jumping on stage. All right, before I bring the next 5 panelists up, I want to acknowledge that I am getting your messages for comments on the conversation. I do see a message from Markevius and one from Matthew. I want to kind of talk to both of those messages real quick. Yes, we can talk more in depth about raising funding and the challenges that are there, and also addressing the question about whether or not the meetup is for established people or brands in the space. Absolutely not. I just want to make sure that we're not, doing anything unprofessional when we bring anybody up to stage. So appreciate it if you stayed a little bit PC in that nature of not speaking too much over people or causing any unnecessary drama. That would be great. But without further ado, I'm going to bring up Anthony. And then I'm going to bring up Michael. And let's see. Second. Okay. And then I'm going to bring up Jordan. And bring up. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so I'm going to wait till you pronounce it yourself. And then I'm going to bring up Mayella. Okay, Anthony, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself first?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Hi guys, my name's Anthony Mason. I'm actually, as he was saying, I'm one of the lesser experienced in the group out of some of the people, but I am in school for my master's at the moment, with my master's being in business administration with a concentration in human resources. Kind of like what Lisa was saying earlier, I actually knew that I wanted to be in games, but by me being in the South, because I'm born and raised from New Orleans, Louisiana, it was kind of a negative mindset to go into gaming. So, I tried to focus on other career paths, but now as it's been expanding, I was like, oh my God, you really can find a career in this. There are gateways in. I do love esports. I have been watching, things like the Evo, which is, the big fighting game tournaments for esports. I've seen a lot of Apex. I'm really into Apex and things of that nature. So I have been in a tournament before. Nothing on the caliber of those, but I have been in, some local amateur ones and did pretty good for me and my team just being amateurs or working regular jobs. But I'm kind of looking to break into the space of it as far as on the designer side. I love the idea of creating games from, your imagination and then something that comes from your imagination being put into an actual game that have become, world-renowned games that people will always remember for the rest of their lives. I think that's something that I'm very capable of and I kind of want to break into.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. And before I ask Mayla to unmute and introduce herself, I do want to mention that this event is intended for everyone to be able to connect with other people in this industry and this space, whether it be the larger creator economy. So go ahead and go to the event post and in the comments. If you have any questions, anything that you might think of, post it in the comments of the event post. Introduce yourselves. Let us know that what you're doing, and it'll help and go a long way in other folks connecting with you and being able to work with you in the future. So without a further ado, though, Mayela, will you unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi, Trent. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. My name is Mayela Torres. I represent the Monterrey Interactive Media and Entertainment Cluster here in Monterrey, Mexico, in Nuevo León, now Tesla's new home. And I work with the creative industry, the technology, the VR, the AR. I'm very passionate about it. I'm a gamer. I used to play League of Legends. I don't do it anymore. And as a cluster, I want to help people to see this as an industry because esports, it's like a Fruit Loops of every industry, creative and technology. We have marketing, we have sales, we have video production, we have data, we have dev. And my goal is that people can see it as a real job. And here in Monterrey, we're growing so fast in this industry. There are emerging new esports team. We have like the Tecnológico de Monterrey has their new arena. We have a lot of academies growing and growing and growing. So my goal is to make us in the spot in worldwide and not only in Mexico, to people to really see the talent we have. And most importantly, that this is a real job. This is a real industry and we have so much to give, and pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And before I mention and let Michael unmute, I do want to say, if you want to speak, again, we are rotating out new panelists every 30 minutes. First 15 minutes is introductions, and then the next 15 minutes will be posing questions and going through the process there. But Michael, without further ado, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I just want to make sure, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Awesome. It's nice to meet everyone. It's good. Awesome introduction. So yeah, my name is Michael Lewis. I'm out here in the Midwest. Just a little bit about me to kind of back up why I'm here today. Growing up, I was always really interested into anything that had to do with STEM, computers, obviously video games. And the best way to explain it is I had nobody kind of in my community who was doing anything related to STEM. So if you came to me, at fourth grade and said, hey, Michael, you have this passion for video games, you have this passion for computers, you can be a computer scientist, you can be, in data analytics. I probably would have told you, I just don't see myself in those careers. I know we talked a lot about equity, but, there's this misconception that, when people of color, and minority groups aren't getting STEM opportunities, but I kind of push back toward that. I say there are a lot of STEM opportunities. The issue is that, minority groups don't see themselves in STEM, if that makes sense. And that's essentially what happened to me. I was introduced to STEM at high school, and it was just too late for me. I went down the, marketing route, and I kind of realized, man, that was a mistake because one, I could do anything I want to do. And two, if you look at where these careers are headed, it's, my opinion, getting these kids into STEM and CTE, it's like, we need to do this. So, I wanted to use kind of my passion and communication to, make sure no one had that mindset that I had when I was younger. And I kind of found the organization I'm with right now. So I'm with an organization called the United States Academic Esports Program. And essentially what we do is we do kind of that competitive esports side, but then we also introduce curriculum and kind of career exploration that's about using esports to get kids into careers. I know someone mentioned it earlier in the last kind of group that came in. We're about those orbital careers because we know, most of these kids aren't going to end up, on an esports team or even working in esports. So what we've done in our organization is we provide a toolkit for schools to be able to have an esports program, but we tie in academics where they have in curriculum and career exploration on top of that. And I'm just out here trying to connect kind of what we're doing, but it's very good to meet everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. Those points were very interesting. I'd like to explore those a little further as we go. Jordan, unmute and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jordan Olivas. I have not been in the esports industry formally, but I've sold into companies like Lenovo, Dell, Xiaomi, just to name a few. My last company was based out of South Asia. It was a financial institution where we raised over $5 million in equity, $10 million in debt, and have been extremely active in the esports scene, really in a passive area. So I've, know the owners of Zydax, head of esports HP, and now after my last startup, really looking to get involved somehow from a business aspect, where my background is really sales and sales leadership for enterprise organizations. And so really looking to get involved and happy to be here and just trying to get known a bit.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. And I do not want to mispronounce your name. So, P, can you unmute and introduce yourself?
Sure. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So my name is Piyush Kumar, for you, Trent, and everyone else. And I'll start off a little bit of an introduction of, my company, Crowd Control Esports. So we're essentially, trying to build esports as an ecosystem in India. And what we've done is we've bifurcated into three problem areas that we saw. The first was, esports operating in silos. So while there's a lot of big tournaments and leagues happening, I think it's not one where everyone is coming together from the industry, the different players, the streaming partners, the platform partners, the fantasy partners, and all of them coming together to create one very immersive experience. So, we're trying to solve that through CrowdForge. Then immersive content. So we've tried to create broadcast studios within the game for casting, and all of these are virtual studios. And the third, which is very close to my heart, and I think a lot of us talked about, is education and skilling through esports. That sort of brings me to, my background. So I started gaming when I was 8. And, up until then, I'd been playing, Mario and the Contras of the world. And, it was all fun in games. But when I played Quake 3 Arena for the first time, competitive multiplayer was a whole another experience altogether for me. And, I fell in love at first sight. And then, across that journey, I learned so much from esports. I learned vocabulary, I learned physics, I learned geometry, I learned maths, all because of esports and gaming. So, over the years, I really wanted to start trying to give back. And that's where I developed Khelshala. We've created our own curriculum, which essentially focuses on STEM, but also more on skilling. So we call it the Skill Cap curriculum, and the tagline is, "Are you ready to boost your skill cap?" And it's for learners of all ages. We did a pilot with specially able children last year in India, and the results were phenomenal. You can check out our YouTube channel for that. of course, the content is in Hindi, so you might have a little bit of challenge. Happy to, transcribe it for you. That's a very quick but brief intro of, who I am, what I've done. And, I would love to, speak more about over the discussion.
Thank you, Piyush. All right. So just to let everybody know, we're going to pose these questions, and, we'll stick around the time so that we can get everyone up on stage. To see folks raising their hands and folks in the audiences that are new. So just a brief kind of reiteration about the agenda. So we'll bring up folks every 30 minutes. We're bringing folks up and rotating in a new 5 panelists. And then at the break here, we're going to take like 5 minutes to just network and connect with each other. And then we'll go on to the next panel. But here is the first question for you guys. The first question is, how do you attract and retain, you can use or interchangeably this word, fans, customers, clients in the esports industry? So maybe Jordan, do you want to speak to this question first?
Yeah, so look, when you look at fans and how you classify them, right? It's ultimately who's paying the bills, right? Which is, look, I think everyone loves esports. Everyone who's here wants to be involved, but at the end of the day, it's super, super important that you understand how you're making revenue. And look, because VC funding has dried up. After raising quite a bit of cash, the metrics have changed away from growth and really around sustainability. So I've known quite a number of startups, especially in the esports space, that have unfortunately gone under because they haven't focused on those baseline metrics. So I think there's a lot of people that are very passionate about, hey, we're in the education sector, we're doing great things. Hey, we are, helping underserved markets, and we're doing great things. And look, my last company was based out of Pakistan. We're a financial institution trying to bring financial inclusion to the underserved. But at the end of the day, there has to be some baseline metrics. So it's really important to understand what those are and how you're going to monetize. And I think, as you mentioned, one of the things being brought up is around how to fundraise. And so when you're going to go fundraise and understanding that those VCs don't have as much liquidity at their base level, it's really important to understand, hey, what are the metrics that they're looking for? Do you have profitability already? And how you define that customer, the fan base, is a little bit less relevant, and more relevant is, hey, who's actually your customer? Who's actually driving the revenue for your business? Because when I was talking to the head of esports at HP last month, I said, hey, we invest a bunch of money into Overwatch. But at the end of the day, we couldn't find the ROI. And I think that's something that everybody needs to really look at, and when defining their customer segments.
Very interesting. And, it's interesting that we have a very global audience here and also global panelists. Michael, I see you're unmuting. Maybe you want to add a little bit of value into, what you mentioned earlier, and potentially the education space and getting funding in that space.
Yeah, so essentially, I can really only speak from kind of, I guess we consider our fans. We really focus primarily on working with, school districts and kind of organizations, and really, Jordan really spoke well from like that deep organizational aspect, but I think trying to speak from terms that would really resonate to most people, just in terms of keeping, what you would call fans and keeping consistently. Once, I'm sure everyone's in the type of organization where you're trying to bring people in to do something around esports. A common mistake people kind of make is, as you start growing, whether that's with schools or with people, you get very consistent in terms of communication, but that generally, seems to kind of fall out with a lot of groups. So one thing I'd recommend is, it doesn't matter how much you grow, definitely having that communication. A lot of the partnerships that you'll have with, whether that's a school or that's a, organization, even that's, people coming into your organizations, will generally last some time. So, being able to have that line of communication, and just, I personally have talked to a lot of schools who were burned by organizations where it's like, hey, they sold them the product, and then they really weren't there for them after that. Or they did their tournament and they gave them a bunch of things to use and nothing was used. So, if you're in that kind of same frame as I am with my organization here, that definitely makes sure you keep up.
I completely hear what you're saying. And Anthony, maybe you would like to speak next and talk about the process, since you're getting an education and going through that, and also looking at esports and gaming as a potential career opportunity. How did you fund yourself through the college system while being a gamer and looking at these opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, like I said, I'm not as deeply involved as some of the other panelists, but just based off of the things that I've seen and researched, like I said, I do watch it. I am a gamer. I think a lot of it does have to do, like we talked about with the fan base, right? I think a lot of it has to do with self-marketability as well, because yes, you're getting, these contracts from those big companies like Lenovo, Monster, all of these great companies, but I also feel like it has to do with the team itself, being in the good headspace, such as grinding and going after education, keeping yourself within good standings of the college you came from. Also, just having that personality, because what I've learned as well, especially with esports and those professional players, they definitely keep a fan base by having their Twitch streams. Twitch definitely almost goes hand in hand with almost every esports team I've ever seen. They normally stream or have a YouTube channel. That way they could further connect themselves with the community, just letting them know, hey, even though I am this professional gamer, even though I do play in these tournaments, even though practice may be something that we work at every day, all day, I'm still a normal gamer. I'm still a normal person. And I think personally that sometimes people forget that, hey, I'm normal too. Yes, I'm a professional gamer and I am better than the average person, but at the same time, I love just gaming. I love clowning around with my friends, and I love staying in those good headspaces and, making sure that my organization sees me just living a normal life. Because when you can have that connection with the common guy or the common girl, and just showing, hey, I'm normal too. I love doing this as a hobby, not just to get paid. It also helps with that fan base as far as relatability. So I feel like that's another big thing that hasn't necessarily been touched on, because yes, it's about the metrics. It's about, the standpoints of how to do it from a business aspect. But like we said, it's those players who are on those teams that keep those fans coming back and keep the funding coming in as well. So that's something I just wanted to add.
Yeah, Anthony, that's a great point.
I would like to add more into like the business side of the industry. Following Anthony and Michael's comments, they said about education and being professional, which is something we're trying and doing here, to educate the people. Right now, we have like 2 or 3 of the biggest universities in Mexico that already have scholarships because they have esports teams, and it's like a great step. I would have loved to have a scholarship because you are in an esports team. And also we have like these academies that are teaching the gamers and the players, to be a good player, but also to develop the soft skills, like to know how to talk in public, like to know how to deal with brands, and to know what to say or what not to say on screen, because that's also like the tricky part. You can go in a Twitch stream and you can talk about everything, but if you say one comment, like it could blow up your whole life. And talking about business side, that's like something we have to encourage, right? As I was saying in my introduction, to see it more like a business side, and I think that's like the perfect balance we have to reach, because this will also help us form not only great players but also great persons.
Absolutely. And Piyush, if you want to wrap us up and potentially give some insight maybe on your market, because you are one of the largest growing mobile markets as far as mobile esports.
Absolutely. So I think talking about the market trend, first of all, picking up from the question about the fans piece, right? The fan retention, I think that sort of bakes into this by default, where India is a very premium market, if you will. it's very challenging to monetize the community, so to speak, in India. And that's why we have to come up with very creative ways to try and, I think, sponsor our events, or, essentially host events that are sponsored, or that have some sort of prize pool. And, that's where, for me, I think, as an industry, right, we have to innovate beyond just delivering views to the end customer or to our sponsors. I think it has to be very targeted and very focused in terms of what we can, what are the areas where we can add value to the end users or to the end customers who are going to use our services. So essentially, right, any tournament is primarily a marketing tool when it comes from a brand point of view, right? And I think the way we do that uniquely, immersively, is how the market is going to be shaped in the next 2 or 3 years, especially. And I'm I'm happy to be corrected if anyone has thinks otherwise.
Absolutely. Piyush, can you let the folks know where they can get connected with you and everything before we rotate out and get some new panel subs?
Sure. So, you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you can also drop me a mail at piyushk@crowdcontrolesports.com, and I'd be happy to connect with any and all of you guys to talk more. I'm talking esports is what we all love doing, so anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you, Piyush, for your time, and thank you for joining us.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Jordan, do you want to close us out again and let everybody know how they can get connected with you?
Yeah, thanks everyone for the time.
It looks like he might have been dropped by accident. Michael, do you want to go ahead and let everybody know how they can connect with you?
Thank you again, Trent. Everyone, definitely add me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. The name of the organization is United States Academic Esports Program. We do work outside of K-12. We do work with organizations, so definitely contact me. My email is michael@usacademicesports.com. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael, for coming up on stage. Mayella.
Thank you so much. If you want to know more about how the industry is going on the other side of the world, like Monterrey or Mexico, please feel free to contact me. I'm pretty sure we can exchange really good knowledge and we can help each other grow. This industry is beautiful, it's challenging, and it's definitely the future. You can find me on LinkedIn at my profile or at info@monterreyinteractive.org. I'm sorry, sometimes like I cross English and Spanish and it's kind of tricky. But thank you so much.
Appreciate you a lot. It's great to hear from folks in different areas of the world. Thank you for joining us on stage. And Anthony, go ahead and let everybody know how they can get connected with you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Trent. Yeah, you guys can just follow me right here on LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm looking to network, just trying to see how others may have discovered those pathways into either esports or the gaming industry as far as, design or development. Like I said, I'm just looking to gather information and also, share what I've learned over the years. Halfway through this master's program and right after this master's program finishes, I'm trying to, like I said, jump straight into a career with that. And also my email is Anthony C. Mason, the number 0@gmail.com. Like I said, I appreciate you all allowing me to be here and speak.
Awesome. Thank you, Anthony, and great to have you. All right. Before we bring up the next 5 panelists, I want to once again do some house cleaning. Okay, it's great that everybody came out, and I really appreciate everyone's input, both on the panel and in the audience. Again, if you are at this meetup and you are wanting to connect with others, I highly suggest going into the audience area, clicking through all the avatars, and following all of those folks you find interesting. And to be proactive, I would also say go to the event listing and post a little bit about yourself in the comments, just to give people a little bit of some meat and potatoes about what you do, and it'll go a long way in networking in this space. And really greatly appreciate everyone who's came out. And without further ado, I'm going to bring up the next 5 panelists. So, Markevius, I know you sent me a message, so we're going to bring you up. We'll bring up Vladimir and Tao. Let's see. Matthew and let's see. There goes Matthew and Craig. All right. First and foremost, I have to, I guess, give it to my my good friend Craig, who's over there at Tapalti. Unmute and introduce yourself.
Hey, Trent, this has been amazing, man. Thank you for having me and just providing this. This is really awesome, man. My name is Craig Gonzalez. I'm an alliance manager for Tapalti. Tapalti powers payments for a lot of companies like Twitch, Roblox, EA Sports, Blizzard. So it's been a really fun company to work for. And I love esports. I love help supporting the sport. And that's what I'm here to do. Hey, one thing I wanted to mention, you were talking about esports in high schools and education. One thing I thought that was really cool was that my son actually traveled to Japan to wrestle in Japan for the California State high school team. And what he learned was that when you go to high school there, you actually are going to a school that's going to further your career. And one of the ones that he went to was an agriculture high school. But what I thought was even more cooler was that in December of last year, they added esports as a high school. And it just goes to show that that it's growing, it's getting bigger, and it seems like Japan is ahead of us when it comes to esports in high schools and teaching the kids about gaming and design and code. So pretty excited about that. Thanks again, Trent. Really appreciate being here.
Absolutely. Craig and I talk all the time, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more after this about the ways that Tapalti has helped in the gaming space. But without further ado, Tao, if you'd unmute and introduce yourself.
Yes, hi. Yes, my name is Teo Toma. I am a graduate with the Esports Management and Gaming degree. I was kind of a guinea pig for the program. It was the first college in the world, I believe, first university to have an esports degree, which was Becker College at first, and then Becker went under during the pandemic, so I transferred to University of New Haven, which adopted the program. And now we've got multiple higher education institutions that have it. So very proud to be one of the first graduates with that. My background, however, is in business development and sales, as well as I was a personal trainer for pro athletes for about 9 years.
Very cool, Teo, and I'm happy to have you on the stage. Vladimir, if you'd unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello.
Yep, there you are. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Vladimir Denko. I'm the founder of AU Hub. I'm here with my partner, actually, Joseph Watson, who's in the audience.
Vladimir, I think we lost you. Yep. We'll try to see if we can't bring him up back on the stage. If not, we'll swap him out for another one of the members in the audience who's looking to speak. Markevius.
Greetings.
Hello.
Yes, my name is Markevius Dasher, but pen name is Cognac Devil. I just keep it simple and just say linguistics plus logistics equals Giannis Antetokounmpo. So when it comes to esports and stuff, they make a whole bunch, my players, I've noticed it, no matter what you got to do, you got to make an avatar for whatever, especially in the sports industry, like sports gaming, you have to make an avatar. And you try to find talent, so you find these rec leagues and stuff. It's just this idea I'm pitching out. You find rec leagues and stuff, and you try to get them to make the player in the likeness of their image, and you get an esport within an esport because you break the team up. Just competitive strategy and data analytics can always, cover everything. That's all.
Thank you, Marquise. I look forward to exploring that more in depth as well. Matthew, without further ado, can you unmute and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Matthew Boyle. I am a amateur esports producer focusing mainly in Valorant and sometimes do League of Legends. Yeah.
Very cool. It'll be awesome to hear more about the talent side and what you're working on there. Carlin, if you don't mind unmuting and introducing yourself.
Hi, yeah. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. So I'm a little bit nervous, like most of you here. I also love video games, like most of you here. In college, I won over $80,000 in esports scholarships. Also, the UTD, I guess University of Texas Dallas team that qualified for nationals. So if anyone's familiar with like collegiate League of Legends, I was there at LCS, competed there. And from there, it really solidified my passion for, this industry that we're all in and that we're all equally as passionate about. I grew up with pretty severe social anxiety. So even right now, like you guys are chilling, but right now my heart's racing, my voice is kind of shaky, but trying to hang in there. And so after I graduated in university, I started a company called Ikuso. Basically what we do is we simulate the same experience that you get in a sports program, but for gaming. Right now, we're operational 4 schools. We have kids from 10 different states. And really the goal is to, have training drills, to have practice, to have coaches and mentors that understand kids because, it's different. Soccer, League of Legends, basketball, and Counter-Strike or whatever. It's similar, right? But it's different. And it's important to have people that understand, that are not only like proficient at the game, but understand what it means to be a kid that has severe social anxiety, right? And to be able to battle and push through. And so if anyone has any questions, I'm sure we'll go through in the panel. I wasn't expected to get pulled here, so I'm a little bit unprepared, but yeah, that's me. Nice to meet you guys.
Very awesome. Very awesome, Carlin. Actually, you're doing great. And look forward to your input on everything. All right, so we're going to roll into the first question and get the panel's insight into what they think about this. So the first question is going to be, what are some of the most successful marketing strategies for esports businesses? And I'm going to pose this question first to Teo and see where we go from there.
All right. So most effective marketing strategy for esports businesses. I think this question is kind of a loaded question.
Absolutely.
In a sense, because you have so many different facets of business in esports. Esports is, widespread in so many different adjacent industries that it works with production, marketing, product, manufacturing, all different types of things. And then you've got broadcast, but it really all comes down to what the company is trying to achieve. Right. And you're also looking at both endemic and non-endemic brands that are in that space and what they're trying to achieve. A lot of the non-endemic brands that have come into the esports space and tried to invest or allocate some of their budget in here have done it in a way of trying to partner with an esports brand or partner there's also companies that have done it really poorly as well. And it comes across to us as gamers as disconnected. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it was the Coca-Cola commercial where in the middle of an esports in the esports tournament, the guy, turns around and has the fridge in back of him and grabs a Coke out of the fridge. And then his character stops fighting on the screen and, everybody just puts down their weapons, and totally unrealistic and definitely not what it is or in our world as competitive gamers. And they got a lot of backlash for that. So I think the best practices for companies in esports to market themselves for non-endemic brands is to become connected. Hire somebody on in your team that understands the demographic, understands the community, understands the people that you're trying to reach. Because a lot of the reason why these non-endemic brands are trying to market into esports space to begin with is because they haven't been able to reach this demographic, this target demographic, in any other way, right? The gamers are not the same type of demographic that consume a lot of conventional media. We don't watch TV as much as other people do. We don't, pick up the newspaper and read the newspaper as often. We're sitting in and doing a 24-hour binger with our favorite game, or, getting together after work and playing with our friends, whatever it may be. So hiring somebody on that knows the space, and for endemic brands to be able to market themselves, they're doing the opposite, right? They're trying to get people who are not involved in esports, or at least to bring more awareness to their brand. And so they have to kind of think outside the box. A lot of it, just I guess to sum up my response to this is to think outside the box of what your normal thought process would be, either by bringing somebody else in that knows a different way, a different perception of that, or to do your own research and to get out of what your norm is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of swing it over to Markevius, because he mentioned earlier digital identity and avatars. What are some of the touch points maybe in the successful marketing strategies that you've seen as far as brands, working in the digital space?
Can I answer this one?
Absolutely, Markevius. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I feel like with the new AI revelation and all, it's more artificial than intelligent, because like it's all a procedure and everything. So because in that moment, it's going to do a procedure method. It's not, intelligent enough to know, like in that scenario, you could catch like something just moving and you'll change your decision. That's why sports betting and stuff getting bigger. But if you go ahead and get a system going, different linguistics and the logistics to it, get your ChatGPT, it's like having duplicate. I can teach a class right here and educate the folks, and then keep it censored, and then I can go out here and, to the other people and be much as X-rated as I wish.
Okay. Great input, Markevius. I'd like to circle back around and talk about that a little bit more at a later time. But Craig, do you want to maybe talk to the topic of digital identity and how that looks like in this creator economy gaming and esports space?
I wasn't going to go with digital identity. I was going to go with more like what I saw just at GDC. I was there this past week, and what I saw at a new game level, what they're doing now for the gamers, is they're giving control over to the gamer, right? So they can actually promote their game, and it's all user content, user driven, and not only that, but they can actually make money, real money, by creating a skin for the game, a logo for the game. And I love that idea. That I love. As far as pros trying to market the esports, like maybe in their areas, I've seen them do partnerships with schools, with the cities, and also even with like a local car dealership. That's everything I've seen as far as that. But as far as the digital identities, probably not the one to ask.
No worries at all. I'm going to pass it over to Carlin. As someone who's played for a Tier 1 collegiate esports team, maybe you could speak to it a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, for sure. I think marketing is it's a loaded question, like Tal mentioned at the beginning, because, it's like if you break it down to first principles in physics, there's like three different, I guess, groups, just like the kid themselves, right? And then there's the parent, and then the decision maker, school, headmaster, whatever you want to call it, really, right? Each of those three has to be marketed differently. Obviously, parent and school decision maker are going to be more similar, but you can't market something to a kid that you would market to a 50-year-old, 60-year-old like father. You know what I mean? So that brings up an interesting discussion. We've experimented with things in the past as a startup, and we've definitely done our due diligence and research. It definitely feels like, and if anyone, I guess, feels differently, please tell me that I'm wrong. But from what I've seen, it feels like most people, if not all, are primarily channeling it towards kids and really getting that buy-in from just like showing them, here's this cool game you should play, you know, because like when they see the game, like, oh, I can play games at school, what kid's gonna say no? You know what I mean? And so to that end, from the previous panel, the previous group of 5, there was an interesting discussion brought by a gentleman whose name I don't remember, unfortunately. But he was strongly, he brought up the idea of profitability, sustainability, and really just like building a business that makes sense. And from what I've seen personally, it doesn't feel like marketing towards kids does the best job, because it's kind of a catch-22, right? And I'm sure we're all familiar with this idea, but basically it's like a cycle that has trouble facilitating itself, because it's like, where do you start? Because I guess the way we see it, right, is we start with the kids in terms of building skills, because when the kids develop skills, the parents will support them, right? If they can see the meaningful difference in the kids, you know, well-being, their team skills, their communication, their social anxiety, or whatever it is, like I'm experiencing right now, they're going to support it. And if the parents support it, the school will support it, and then the cycle works in that way. But it's weird because you marketing with the kid, then the kid goes to the administrator, and the administrator's like, okay, well, you just want to play more games at school, right? So ultimately, we're all battling the same stigma, and we're all learning and trying to figure out who is best to market to. So if anyone has any cool and innovative ideas, please let me know. But what has worked for us personally, maybe I shouldn't share this, maybe I should, but just being like having boots on the ground, you know, just being in, I guess, conventions in areas that both kids and I guess decision makers are, and just telling them the story and showing the proof that you have through the kids, which we have case studies. If anyone wants to follow along, we're going to be posting a lot of them soon. Yeah, that's kind of a chaotic way of answering it, but I hope that was insightful.
No, definitely move the step forward in the form of participation. That's very key. Marquise, before I let you go, I'm going to let Matthew speak and speak to, you know, his experience in as far as, you know, as a consumer or even as someone who is, you know, building in the space and finding opportunity. Matthew, if you want to speak.
And from what I do for just trying to advertise to, I guess, a consumer, is I would be building the stream packages that the games I stream would be based around. So just trying to make those as entertaining and not boring or not plain, and just trying to make them just, I guess, attractive would be a word to be used as well. Innovating, like adding specific tools. Like a lot of the amateur scene doesn't have any replays, so just using those and allowing the viewers to see it again and the casters to talk over it after knowing the whole way of what's going to happen, so they're able to break it down for the newer viewers. For instance, recently for Valorant, I've built a custom scoreboard tool because unfortunately Riot does not provide the grassroots scene with it. So this will allow smaller organizations to kind of step up their production level and make it look more professional and be more attractive to consumers, advertisers, anyone who would be interested in the scene.
Very insightful. Marquise, before we move on to the next question, I saw you on mute. If you'd like to add something else.
Oh yes, Carly had made a great example, and then when Matthew went, it's like an infusion of them both. Sometimes you have to break things down to the smallest molecule. So if you do that, like, you know, case studies and stuff like that, because I've been doing sessions myself, you can check on my page, but you can get different people, like, you know, bring niches together, a writer, a painter, or artist, or, you know, tech designer, but everybody has their own crystals or their own pose, and you bring it together and, like, you know, organize me. That way you can, you know, monopolize like a bigger field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that actually segues well into the next question that I want to talk with you guys about, which is, once you have gotten that marketing and information out there to the audience of your loyal fans and everything like that, how do you monetize that gaming and esports event or tournament in a way that is cash flow positive for your business? Marquise, I see you unmuted, so if you'd like to take that first.
Yes. In my opinion, how you monetize that it's it's like a third party thing. Like Pokemon Leaf Green is one of my favorite games, but the posters and stuff that comes in it, you can it's a site. I have HB Naturals. You can kind of dealing with modifications. You can integrate that in it itself. But you also got to have articles about some like opioid crisis or whatever. It's more about the research and nonprofits and stuff. You get them involved. A lot of stuff that you do going to be for the monetary up front is going to your cards, and your cards will always come back to it's a 360 theory.
Appreciate that. And let's throw it over to Carlin. What are your thoughts on monetizing esports?
Yeah, fantastic question. I'm getting a little bit more calm, so I'll be able to answer better. First off, for anyone who sees the Japanese gentleman, he just sent me a very inappropriate picture. Don't look at that. But in regards to monetization, just full disclosure, my company is profitable. We're doing a really good job in that sense. As for how we've done that, ultimately, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of echo chambering a little bit, but ultimately, if you make a meaningful difference with your target customer, so everyone's going to be different, right? For us, it's education-based, and for anyone who missed it, we basically work with schools, simulate the same experience you get in a sports program, but for video games. So everyone's pretty familiar, when you're on a soccer team, what do you expect to get? Teamwork, communication, leadership. You expect to get fit. You expect to, think like an athlete, all of these things, right? And so for us, it's hinged on being able to replicate that same experience and those skills especially. If the shareholders feel like they are getting that experience, they'll pay. So what we've done in the past, again, maybe I shouldn't be sharing this, but I'd like to think we're all altruistic in a sense. So basically, we just reach out and say, hey, take a gamble. We'll do it for free at the beginning. If you feel like you got the value, then you can pay at the end. Just to be totally transparent, what we do isn't cheap, but what we do is highly effective. So if anyone wants to talk more about that, you can. Did I answer that pretty? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. And
okay.
The like you mentioned, somebody's gotten out of pocket and said some interesting things that they shouldn't. That's one of the issues that we have in this space, and hopefully I can work toward making the community a little bit more understanding and whatnot, and not be doing anything foul or anything like that. But so I apologize if that happened to you, and we'll work towards making sure that doesn't happen anymore. But maybe Matthew, would you like to speak toward monetizing? I'm getting an idea of that you're in production. You're on the production side, so maybe you could speak to esports production as far as streaming and broadcasting goes.
Generally speaking, my side of the department doesn't really handle that, besides if any of the partners wants to run an ad, or for instance, I'll mention Valorant again. They have specific advertisements they'll display in when something happens in the game. So if a clutch, it'll be, I don't remember the exact company, but a Logitech clutch. So specifically like integrating ads into a way that's not obtrusive to the viewer, but still is able to like, hey, this is brought to you by X company.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really great point. And Craig, would you like to speak to that and how you guys are solving those challenges over at Tapalti?
For us, again, I've seen a lot of different tournaments put together. Yes, having like ads within the tournament. I've seen sweepstakes. I've seen bonuses, like if you are the number one. I have seen. Here's the key though: you got to have payout methods, multiple payout methods, right? Don't just have like PayPal, because that could be frozen, or it could, you got to have multiple payment methods. That way you make it easy for the tournament winners to actually get paid and pay them on time. Kind of like do what you say when you start the tournament. It was a really nice gesture how I forgot his name, that he said that, try this out, because we're like in a testing phase right now, and we're all learning together. And I think this is why I just appreciate this so much, Trent, that you put this together, because the more we learn from each other, the more we can help each other, we can grow the sport together. And that's what I appreciate about this. But as far as running the tournament, I just know the basics, man. I got to be honest. But here's what's cool though, is that esports gaming, that's like a new distribution channel for like the music industry, and they look at that as like their new channel. So maybe back in the day it was radio, and then it was MTV, and then it was like, okay, streaming. Well, now it's through games, it's through VR. It's, music is heading that way. So it's like esports and gaming is in a powerful position right now, because we have the viewership, we have the big purses, the big prize winnings. So now we just need to really figure out how to like keep that momentum going, teach each other, help each other, and just grow the sport. That's how I look at it, Trent. Thanks again for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Craig. And Tal, do you want to sum us this all up?
Yeah. What part would you like me to give my opinion on?
Yeah, so I'll reiterate the original question. How do you monetize esports, whether it be events, tournaments, brands, in any form or fashion, just gaming and esports in general? What are some of the ways to monetize?
Okay. Well, I think the first step is understanding that esports is a business, because a lot of people look at it as like a hobby and, something fun and something that they'd like to do, but there's real money behind it. And these sponsorships and partnerships that are coming in, I mean, it's millions and millions of dollars, right? We all have heard the term, the coined phrase, oh yeah, esports has done over $1 billion this year or last year or whatever it may be, but it's a business, and the esports organizations, esports tournaments, tournament producers, and all of these people are looking to get paid, right? So it's all well and good that we're there to play games, but it has to mean something. And the production of it, like esports for a lot of these companies was a loss lead, right, into other things, which was brand awareness, increasing the brand awareness, and such as like what FaZe did, or what 100 Thieves did, is what they did is basically they used esports for a expediting the process of building that brand so they can sell more merchandise, so they can get more views on their videos, so they can get their content creators to have thousands of viewers, and that getting them paid by the revenue share from advertisements, right? So there's a lot of different ways to make money in esports, but you have to, one, have a solid business plan of how you're going to do it, where your partners are going to be, what different platforms that you're going to be doing it through, and what resources that you have. And I was a streamer myself for several years. I also, Carla and I was also in CLOL and competed in CLOL, and I had a scholarship for playing League of Legends the entire time I went through this term of university. And it's profitable only to the major organizations until you develop some type of niche service, or I mean, because look at all of the tier 1 organizations, almost every single one of them are in the red still, and this is years afterwards. So making it profitable, you need to do something above and beyond to make the non-endemic brands get excited about doing something and increasing their bottom line, which will inevitably transport into monetization for you and your brand.
Absolutely, Tal. If you'd like to, Tal, if you don't mind, telling people how they can get connected with you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up and we'll bring the next 5 panelists up.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me here on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anybody. You can also email me. It's just Teotoma, THOMA @gmail.com. I think I'm the only one in the world. And yeah, very happy to discuss any opportunities or just talk about esports in general. It's been a passion of mine for a long time. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for joining the panel, and talk to you soon. Okay, and Markevius, if you would like to go next, let everybody know where they can follow you and any promotional things that you've got going on?
Yes, you can follow me here on LinkedIn. I have if you do not know, it's an app called PocoChai. It's live streaming. It's live streaming, and I have HB Naturals. It's how can I say, it's a natural site with natural products, but you can find that on my LinkedIn, and that's what it is. And support neurology, my own personal philosophy.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Marquise, for providing such valuable information. And Matthew, if you'd like to let everybody know how they can connect with you, anything you've got coming up, any promo that you're interested in sharing with us. I saw you unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Here we go. Yeah, you can connect with me here on LinkedIn. I will be in the background for the future Valorant and Discord streams that are coming up. Just released publicly the new tool I talked about earlier for scoreboard and Valorant. If you need any help running a Valorant event and streaming it, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on stage, Matthew. Appreciate your input. Craig, if you would like to let people know how you can connect with you, anything upcoming for you guys over at Tapalti.
Sure. No, the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. And please do, and I look forward to talking to each and every one of you. And Trent, thanks again for putting this on. This was awesome, man.
All right. Talk to you soon, Craig.
Sounds good, man.
And last but not least, Carlin.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you, Trent, for hosting this event and everyone for listening. I guess you can find me on LinkedIn. I wasn't that active before this year, but I'm pretty active now, I would think. You can find more about us on our website at ekuso.gg. Again, we just work with schools, simulate the same experience you get in sports, but for gaming. If you're a school, if you know a school district, please get us in touch if you can. If you're a coach, this is something that we're doing more as we're expanding our operations. If you're a coach for League of Legends or Valorant, I know Tao, you said you played in CLOL, so if you're down to work with some kids, we'd love to have you. The goal is just to make a meaningful impact and create a world that we all wanted growing up, right? So we're all doing this together, and if anyone wants to network, just send me a connection. And one last thing, we're also going to release a bunch of case studies with our families. So they're writing it themselves. So if anyone wants some, weapons on hand that they want to just send out, we got it.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlin. And look forward to talking to you later.
You too.
All right. So I just want to go over the agenda one more time for all of those who just joined. And before we bring up the next panelists, we're going to be wrapping this up in about 30 minutes. But we're going to bring out 5 panelists. We're going to let them introduce themselves and then pose some questions to the to the panelists for everyone to get connected. Again, if you're just joining, I mentioned earlier, I would highly suggest going into the audience and clicking on everybody's avatar, following the people that you find interesting. Also, if you click the Gaming and Esports Virtual Meetup title, it'll take you to the event page where you can drop a comment. Any questions, anything you might think of in the comments, introduce yourself, and what you do in the space, and it'll help others get connected with you. We have 2 more spots before I bring up the panelists. So if there's anyone who would like to speak and has their microphone and everything ready, raise your hand and I'll bring up you as well. But I think we're just going to get the ball rolling because we're running a little bit behind, and we'll bring up these 3 panelists now. And first, we're going to bring Vladimir back up because we'll see if his connection's back. And then we're going to bring Jean up and Lauren. Okay. And then, again, if anybody else would like to join as a speaker, raise your hand. We have 2 more spots. We're doing 5 at a time. Go ahead and raise your hand. If not, we'll start by, I'll just go directly into Vladimir. If you'd introduce yourself, I know you got disconnected. I'll let you go first.
Thank you, Trent. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Finally. I had some problem with the connection. Hi, everybody. Again,
I'm Vladimir. I'm the founder of AO Hub. It's a smarter way gamers connect. Again, my partner is here with us in the audience, Joe Watson. So one of the biggest problems that we're solving in the gaming industry is that gamers are having a hard time to find like-minded individuals to play with. And it is difficult for game developers to create such a solution. So our solution is an AI matchmaking system that connects gamers with like-minded individuals. What we offer through our product to game developers and esport organizations is access to our API. So we build the whole backend infrastructure for you. We only charge through each million API calls. Now, what's an API call? Let's say in a game, just to give it like a more description. Every time you click a button, every time you invite a friend to your party, you join a server and matchmake like a VR in Call of Duty, for example, right? Every time is an API calls. Game developers spend anywhere between 10 to 100K a month in these expenses. So our system is, first of all, it's cost effective. Second, the matchmaking algorithm that we are developing is unconventional. Unlike the traditional ones that are currently being used by the majority of the game developers, such as PlayFab, GameSpark, Amazon, and Photon. Last year, we've released our MVP. We did live and we just recently rebranded. Currently, we have over 5,500 users on our platform. And in the next 2-3 weeks, we're going to be releasing the second MVP, which is the actual AI algorithm, which we tested with 99% accuracy to match you with a like-minded gamer. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Vladimir. I'd like to dive deep into that, further into that in a moment. Lauren, if you'd unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lauren Ladley. I'm a digital spaces consultant. So what that means is I work with solopreneurs, boutique brands, content creators. I help them build their digital spaces and their communities so that they can achieve their goals. A lot of times I'm in the Discord, Twitch spaces working with streamers, gamers whose goals are to either build their brand presence, work on their media kit, get themselves into an influencer program, or get themselves through the application process to an esports team. I also work in the convention spaces. I will be doing the after party lounges for upcoming DreamHack San Diego. So if you're going to be there, come by, have a wonderful time at the events. We're looking at building safe, accessible and exciting experiences. So that's what I do.
Wow, incredible. And I look forward to hearing more about that. It's something probably I could use for this going forward. Without further ado, John, if you want to unmute and speak. Let's see.
Hello, friends.
There we go.
All right, I'll start with a question. Do you know video games industry is making more money than all the movies, TV shows, and music combined? Crazy, right? In this digital age, companies are on the lookout for innovative ways to engage with their customers, and that's where video games comes in. With the power of with their power to create immersive experiences, they're perfect ways to connect with any audience on a deeper level. And speaking of video games, my love affair with them started when I was just a wee lad of 7 years old. My parents gave me my first Nintendo 64 console, and from that moment, I powered it up. I was totally hooked. Anyways, video games has been a major part of my life ever since. I have more than 2 decades surrounded by video games, and nowadays we help businesses and brands tap into the power of video games to engage with their audience in a really meaningful way, educate, and also boost sales. Is also a win-win situation if you see from that standpoint. And since we're talking about marketing, education, and entertainment, video game ticks all these 3 categories. I'll give you 3 quick examples on how companies are using them. First, Ford created a video game called Ford Racing 2, which features Ford vehicles and promote the brand. Nike has used video games to promote its products, including Nike Plus Kinect training, which allow players to train with virtual coaches. And finally, McDonald's has created several games to promote its products, such as McDonald's video games, where players manage a virtual McDonald's restaurant. So yeah, if you need any help within my field, I'm happy to connect.
Very cool. Very interesting. I'm curious as to how you all might answer this question. So the question is, how do you create engaging and exciting esports events for fans? And I want to start off with Lauren because she just spoke about how she's going to be doing activations at DreamHack San Diego. So I'd like to maybe talk about what that looks like and how y'all are planning for that.
So what that looks like is creating intimate environments. That's one of the struggles we're all encountering in esports right now. There's a bit of a cusp between, yes, this is an industry, this is monetizable, and a little bit of a pushback from individuals who are maybe feeling overwhelmed by that or taking advantage of or unsure what that means for something that is their passion and how they're supposed to monetize it, or is someone going to monetize that? So what we try to do is really lead with the passion itself and create large environments with big spectacle that still has approachability, that still has accessibility, that still allows fans to easily engage with the organization, say DreamHack or TwitchCon, and be able to engage with their favorite creators. And for the creators themselves to actually showcase what they do in the ways that they're most comfortable.
That's actually going to be super extremely valuable, that opportunity. And Vladimir, maybe you could speak to what you guys are doing in order to connect gamers.
Definitely. I just want to touch base on what Lauren just said on connecting fans with esport orgs and in events. We have experience in that. Especially last year, we've presented the first in Valorant tournament where we had Cloud9, TSM taking part in this event. And just like Lauren said, those intimate relationships is what really creates that engagement. That personalized approach with fans and creators really, it really builds that rapport, I would say, but it really builds that fandom, right? And that's what really helps esport or other esport orgs grow as well. Through our technology, through AI matchmaking, and this is something that this is something that we're definitely solving. Is when I said like-minded, I meant gamers really find other people to connect with who share the same experiences, who have common interests, common hobbies, and that is exactly what we're doing with our matchmaking algorithm. So it's not just like a point-based algorithm like you will see, just based on skills, but it's really on like who you are as a person. And using AI is one way. I mean, for now, it's actually one of the only solutions out there to really connect with gamers on that personal level.
Thank you, Vladimir. And Giancarlo, you package everything very interestingly, and I'm curious as to your thoughts on creating engaging and exciting activations in the gaming and esports space.
Well, first, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First and foremost, the easiest way is just to increase the prize pool. Offering bigger and more exciting prize pools can motivate players to participate and spectators to watch. So you can also introduce new and exciting game modes. You can also, host the event in unique and memorable locations. I know it's different. It's also depending on the audience, the game genre, how many people is there. I think it's really you can really expand a lot of it, but at the end of the day, it narrows down to the target. That's the most important part of it. That's how you create engagement on esports.
Yeah, absolutely. And I this is where it's going to get really interesting because a lot of the conversation we've had throughout this meetup and everybody who's been able to get connected has been around the education space. And there's education both on bringing new people into the industry and gaming being slightly different than esports. And so this question actually I'd like for everyone to kind of really sit on this one and soak it in, because it's such an important piece of how gaming and esports are intertwined. And it's, how do you balance the competitive aspects of esports with the gaming entertainment value that is the overall overarching gaming industry? And I think I'll start with Vladimir on this one. Can you speak to like how you're doing that over at AIO Hub?
Definitely. I'll start with that. Okay, so one of the things that in matchmaking especially is it's a great way, and especially for collegiate teams, by the way. We've spoken to already a number of universities, and which, trying to pick their brain and understand their collegiate teams and how they what's their scene with other just gamers, just in the entertainment aspect. And matchmaking can be a great icebreaker here, especially when first you get connected, just based on your personality characteristics, the interests, the hobbies, things that you like to share your experience. And this is the number one thing. This is probably the priority in when you're trying to connect with another gamer. It doesn't matter if it's in the esports team or not, in the competitive scene or not. You are a gamer at the end of the day. So yeah, that just from our perspective, pretty much. That's how we. This is exactly what we offer to a lot of collegiate teams. Is and especially for new students, let's say in the new campuses, is like when you matchmake with somebody who's like-minded like you are, it's the first step of an icebreaker of building a new relationship.
Very cool. Giancarlo, talk about the difference between being a hardcore esports competitor and casual gamer, and how do you bridge the gap?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the last question?
So yeah, I'll just reiterate the question. I just kind of reiterated it in a different way. But how do you balance the competitive aspects of esports with the entertainment value?
Okay, well, first, clearly define rules. I think having clear and concise rules that are really communicated to all participants can ensure that everyone is competing on a level playing field. Basically, you can use rank systems. Again, prize distribution is really important. Distributing the prize pool in a way that rewards skills and effort can motivate players to complete and make matches more competitive. Also, professional standards. Ensuring that the event is conducted in a professional manner with fair and consistent officiating can help maintain the competitive aspect of esports. And I think, as Vladimir said, basically skill matchmaking. With algorithms, you can also, increase fairness more often. Yeah, more or less like that. So I think define rules. Having clearly defined rules is what set the ground here.
Absolutely. And Lauren, can you speak to the experience component?
I would say for bridging the gap between gamers, casual gamers, and competitive esports, and looking at the entertainment value, it's about brand loyalty. It's about building an entire brand around maybe a specific team or a specific creator or competitor themselves. So what you have is you have fans. Think sports. Does everyone know the ins and outs of a sports team? Do they know the technical skill that's involved? Some people do, not everyone, but there are fans that will show up, wear the merch, root for their team because they have that sense of community through the brand. They have other fans who maybe can provide the information or help build the excitement or explain maybe the pieces they're missing. So it's not just the relationship with the casual gamer or with the high-end competitor. It's that relationship plus the community of fandom itself.
Thank you, Lauren, for talking on that and adding so much value. As we wrap it up here, I'm going to give one last question, and then we'll allow everyone to let know let people know how to connect with you and the promos on the way out. And the last question is going to be, what are some of the most promising emerging technologies in the gaming industry? And I'll start off with Giancarlo. Talk about what are some of those technologies.
Well, the gaming industry is constantly evolving, and there are several emerging technologies that are really promising to revolutionize the gaming industry. VR, AR, cloud gaming, AI, blockchain, 5G, haptic technology. These all cool gadgets coming from all over the world. They're all compete to get a little segment of the area, some little market share. So there will be huge. Just one little example. Have you ever played laser tag? Just now imagine playing laser tag. Well, laser tag is like playing, it's like playing, I'm sorry. I had it at the tip of my tongue. It's gone. Laser tag is like playing first-person shooter with, I'm sorry, I lost the word for it. But anyways, it's something that, it's like, let me try to get that name again. Hold on. Yeah, laser tag is like playing with laser guns. You got some sensors, you have vests, you have helmets, and when the person or the player triggers, basically they send a signal, in an infrared signal, to your helmets, and then your helmet processes it. It's like playing Counter-Strike in real life without actual guns. But yeah, with this new AR technology and the all these 144 megahertz refresh radio screens. I mean, previously the screens weren't able to refresh the frame rates like your eye does, but now they do. So you can basically have immersive experience all over the world, and with this huge fast internet speed, basically there is no barriers. So yeah, there is a lot of interesting stuff coming out. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Absolutely. Lauren, would you like to talk about the technologies?
Absolutely agree with the augmented reality, virtual reality growth in the space. I think the biggest thing that is just benefiting esports and gaming right now is cross-platform play. The ability for different people to interact depending on whatever their platform is. You got Switch? Fine, let's do some Switch stuff. Or let's hop on our PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and it builds community, but it also opens up competitive play. So you can have people maybe, and of course it is ranked by, are you PC, are you Xbox, are you out there doing your CSGO, but it gives you a chance to have a larger connection with others and really build community around specific games or specific competition that was maybe closed to people who weren't on the right platform. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for a lot of emerging technology in the brand management space, where individuals can have their own brand kits now. They can have an ability to control everything from their logo to their merch, to their communities, to their media kits. And that's really exciting because it provides individuals ownership and control that they maybe haven't had and are either reluctant to give over or aren't at a level yet where they're being recruited by influencer companies, brand management companies, everything else. So I'm excited to see those individual opportunities for more players.
Thank you, Lauren, for talking about the technology around building your own brand. And Vladimir, last but not least.
Sure. Well, the guys listed it all of them, pretty much. I will touch base on AI, artificial intelligence. Pretty much everything, almost everything in a game design from game development is based on AI. AI, especially the unconventional, as a self-learning model, it understands, let's say, the user behavior, how the user as a gamer interacts with the game itself, how he behaves in the game, how he interacts with other users. Based on these analytics, we'll put it this way, data sets, game developers understand how to enhance the overall gaming experience. And this is just like about, we're talking about the engagement inside the game. Game design and game development, especially if we're using Unity or Unreal 5 for 5.2, these are also used by artificial intelligence, but in a different way. So more machine learning in taking all these polygons, right? So we're talking about the objects that are created by machine learning, and really cuts off the time in the development. So it speeds up the development because the computer can do it by itself through computer vision. And this is artificial intelligence. So what I project, and it's just my personal opinion, what we're going to see for the next, 5-10 years is definitely the AI space on how game development will overall increase or enhance the gaming experience for a lot of gamers. And this is just something very interesting to follow on. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's what is on a lot of people's minds, is how AI is going to impact and connect with the creator economy and the gaming and esports space and all of the things that are related to entertainment and what we have going on. So, but as we wrap it up here, Giancarlo, if you let people know how they can connect with you and any promo that you would like to share with the audience.
Oh, well, just don't ignore the power of video games for your businesses, even, for education, as we spoke before, because this is how you really connect with younger audience and a wider audience. So yeah, feel free to reach me out on LinkedIn or innoflopgames.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren.
Of course, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm actually very active in the Discord spaces. Please connect with me in Discord. Or DreamHack San Diego, are you coming into town? I'll be doing the after parties in the lounges. I'll also be doing some private events for individuals. So I'll be around in the space, and it's my hometown. So if you'd like to grab a cup of coffee, a drink, a quick hello, see me at the event.
Absolutely, Lauren. Thank you for joining us on stage. And Vladimir.
I'm here. Okay, Trent, thank you so much for putting this. It's great. Everybody can connect with me on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to be one of the first beta testers of the algorithm that we're going to be releasing very soon in the next 3 weeks, you could just go on aiohub.gg. So it's aiohub.gg without the W's. And that's it. Just sign up and we'll send the next code. Thank you so much, Trent.
Yeah, thank you, Vladimir. And look forward to talking to you further later on.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. These are the closing remarks. Again, my name is Trent Knox, and I hosted this meetup for the Esports Business Network Gaming and Esports Virtual Meetup. And it's been an awesome event. It's been a learning experience. LinkedIn audio is a new feature, but we hope to do this at least one time a month and be able to connect with gaming and esports professionals across the board in all different regions of the world. And hopefully we'll be able to meet some of those different time zone challenges that we've been hearing from some of the audience already. But we've been able to talk about the education space, technology, creative, and a plethora of different challenges that face the gaming and esports space. And if you have any additional questions and would like for those topics to be discussed on the next Gaming and Esports Virtual Meetup, go ahead and go to the event page and in the comments below, write those questions. Also, introduce yourself and let people know how they can get connected with you and any promos that you have in those comments, because that's going to be the best place for the rest of the audience to connect with you. A lot of folks weren't able to attend tonight. I know we had about 10% of the overall registrars, people who registered to attend the event show up, but they're definitely going to get that alert. So as soon as you post, they're going to get an alert that someone commented on the event, and it's actually going to give you an opportunity to get some of your information out there to a larger audience and those folks that you want to get connected with. But again, it's been a really, really great event. All the panelists that were on this really provided a lot of value, and I believe that the recorded version or some form of this will be also included in the Gaming and Esports Virtual Meetup event page on LinkedIn. And again, thank you guys for tuning in and being present and participating. And I hope to catch you guys on the next one, but I'll be signing off now. But lastly, before I sign off, go ahead and go into the audience, click through those avatars, connect with folks, hit the follow button on everyone that's currently in, because they stuck it out to the end of the event, and I'm sure that they can provide a lot of value to your network. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next Gaming and Esports Virtual Meetup.